All right, good afternoon. I think there's a few people here that's in the stream. We'll go live here in a few minutes. Really don't have an agenda. Just figured I have not done a live stream in a hot minute. So what the heck? Why don't I just come on here and, we can have a little bit of back and forth, kind of give you, I'm loud? You said I'm loud. Am I too loud? This is why I do it early. Let me know how that sounds. Am I still too loud? A touch. Let's try this. What about that? What about that? Is it good now? Good. All right, perfect. Yeah, like I said, I don't even really have an agenda. It's just I've still been getting over being sick, and I've not really, God, I don't think I've been on a podcast since the Avowed review. So I've not really, I'm in the mood to talk some shit. So I don't think I've really been talking about any things that's been going on recently in gaming and everything. So, hey, I got my own channel. I have the ability to live stream. All my afternoon meetings got canceled. So here I am. And like I said, I'll go live here in just a second, but I appreciate all y'all hanging out. What is up, Hazador? How you doing? My thoughts on Avowed. You know what? I will go on camera and I'll talk about that in one hot minute. But yeah, I definitely have thoughts on Avowed. Let's see here. All right, so I think I can switch this. I hope this is the right one. Is this the right one? It's the right one. All right, this is the right one. But I hope everybody's doing okay. Like I said, I just wanted to come on here and just do a stream because I hadn't, been on for a while. I have Expedition 33 preview. I played a little bit. I don't honestly know what's wrong. I've been sick for like 2 months. And I'm still not 100%. So I played it a little bit, but everything that you're seeing in the previews, because I'm not necessarily a turn-based guy, so it's not my thing. But game's very pretty. I can see the appeal of it, and definitely looking forward to when the final version comes out. I'll try and dive in and give my thoughts as far as a review goes when the final version comes out. But everything looks good on it, definitely. And I see Xboxer Mike, you're saying, I'm loving Avowed, man, taking my time exploring every nook and cranny. And that was my thing with Avowed. So look, this is my channel. I can talk about what I want. Obviously, there were certain people that saw me giving a 9.5 and tried to spin it into some nonsense. But if you go and listen to what I said about Avowed during the review on Kinda Funny, it is exactly what you're talking about, Mike. I said, take your time. Do not. Oh my God, this thing is blurry. Hold on. Sorry. Why is it? Come into focus, please. There we go. I got to get something for that door because it catches the light every time and takes stuff out of focus. But going back to what I was saying. So with Avowed, like I said during the review, during Kinda Funny, I mean, I was like, take your time. Do not rush through this game. Explore. You're rewarded for your exploration in this game. I call it the fog of war. Try and get every zone you're in. Clear all that cloud off the map. Try and explore, find things off the beaten path. You're rewarded for it. The combat is fantastic, especially if you play it at hard or above difficulty. It's really, really good. The different combinations that you'll have. Is it Skyrim? No, I don't think I ever said it was a Skyrim. I did say it reminded me of the first time I played like Morrowind or Oblivion. I mean, obviously it's not a one-for-one representation, but visuals are good. The combat's good. The exploration in it is good. The story could have been a little better. It could have, by the time you got to the end of it. I totally get the critiques on that, but this was my first time into this PoE universe, and I loved it. Definitely would love to see them do more. I hope, Oblivion, Obsidian, goes back to this universe again and does more stuff there, because I thought it was very well done. I mean, look, I gave it a super high score, but I gave it that score in a vacuum. I had no idea what anyone else thought. That was just my genuine thought. When I said it, I stand by it. And, it's been great to see people after the reviews came out, play the game and judge it for themselves. And that's really all it should ever be. Just use a review as a guide, and you make up your own damn mind if you love the game. And I've seen pretty overwhelmingly most people really love the game. Is everyone going to give it a 9.5 like I did? I get that, no, but you can tell people are enjoying their time with it. It feels like it is worth their time to invest into a game like Avowed, so that's great. And let me see some of these other chats here. And I appreciate all y'all hanging out here, man. Like, I have to fix this stupid thing. Gosh darn it. Let me do this, because it is picking up the light off of there. Let me do that. That should help a little bit. Sorry. You can tell I don't stream a lot. I'm not set up to be streaming all the time. I got to fix the stupid camera, and I'm sorry. I apologize on that. But anyways, let me look at these chats here. What do we got? Parris, I need your advice. I'm 31, worked a 9 to 5 forever. I'm sick of it. Want to go after my dreams before it's too late. I'm thinking about it all the time. So here's my advice. I was probably around a similar age when I jumped into all of this back in the day. And I mean, I still have my full-time job. It's not like I do this full-time. This isn't, how I pay the bills or anything. But, I love gaming. I love talking about gaming. And that's always been the thing with me is, regardless of whatever access I have or anything like that, I love talking about gaming. I love talking about gaming. Obviously, I love playing gaming and kind of deciphering the industry and where I think things are headed. Sometimes I'm wrong, but that's part of the beauty of it. So my advice to you would be find whatever that, I'm assuming you're talking about gaming. If that's the approach that you want to take, just go into it and have fun with it. Understand that when you initially start this, whether you're streaming, whether you're podcasting, or whatever the case may be, you're not going to have a huge audience. You're just not. And, do it because you love to do it. Try and be consistent with what you do. Leverage the tools that you have around you. Obviously, social media, even though it's a dumpster fire these days, leverage that. Network with people, go to events, go to a summer game fest, go to a PAX, meet people, all these things. But at the end of the day, whether you get a review code or you don't, just be true, obviously, to who you are and whatever it is you're passionate about. And my final advice is, when it's not fun, stop doing it. If this wasn't fun for me, I would not do it anymore, because that's the whole reason to do it. I've been very lucky that I've literally met people around the world just because of video games. And I'm always appreciative and thankful of that. And if that's a passion that you want to chase, just jump in and do it, man. See where it takes you. And what do we have here? What else? Yeah, Hazard. Or yeah. Like I said, I know my... Wait, all I saw was bald fraud way up. So that's Khalif. I see Khalif. No, what's going on, man? Yeah, I just decided to jump on the live stream. I have no agenda on here. This is just completely random on my part. Let me fix this setting for you. Yes, please, because the camera I'm using is a Sony a6400. I have it on manual focus. So why it continues to pick up, it's got to be this light behind me that it's picking up, and it goes out of focus as a result. So yes, help me please, so that I can be a better on-camera personality when I'm sitting there. And Jimmy saying, any thoughts on 33 Immortals? I saw it's coming to game. I'm excited for it. I was lucky enough, God, that was 2 years ago now. I played it 2 years ago at the Xbox Showcase, E3, whatever they're calling it at the time. But yeah, I played it 2 years ago, just briefly in a demo with a bunch of people. It was a lot of fun. I mean, it's essentially Hades with a whole bunch of your friends in there, right? But, it was brief. I obviously would need to get more hands-on time with it to really give you a true assessment of it. But I just, my memory from 2 years ago, I remember I enjoyed my time of what I played. So I'm definitely looking forward to it and looking to jump in. I would imagine, again, with 33 players all at once in a co-op session, it's going to be chaos, but we'll see. And I see Hybrids asking me about Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Yeah, I mean, obviously, worst kept secret ever. We knew this 3+4 remaster was coming, which is great. I guess it's today it came out or whatever. Am I a Tony Hawk guy? No, that's not my thing. I do know my brother-in-law. He's going to be all over this. I'm going to be super excited for it. And I know, I think Tim over at Kind of Funny is super excited about it as well. So I get it. People are super excited for it, and it's great that it's coming back. Hopefully this will lead to brand new Tony Hawk games. Excuse me. And Juan, good to see you live. Yeah, I mean, it's like whenever I have time, I want to do these live streams more where I just jump on and essentially just shoot the shit, with everybody on chat and just see what people are thinking and, open forum. Literally, we talk about whatever because, I mean, I definitely want to talk about more than just gaming. I mean, I'm super excited by where wrestling's going right now. NFL free agency is about to happen. Freaking NBA is going on. My Lakers are the 2 seed. I feel bad for Kyrie, man, what happened to him last night. But yeah, I mean, this is my personal channel. And when I get a chance to jump on, do a live stream, I really like doing these. It just so happened all my afternoon meetings got canceled. So here I am. And what else do we have here? Someone asked something about Towerborn earlier. I'm scrolling up a little bit. I apologize. Someone was asking me about Towerborn. Where is it? Did I miss it? Now I'm not seeing it. Whoever asked me about Towerborn, ask me again so I can see it, and I will jump on there. Hazardor. I'm actually glad Hazardor is saying this because I want to address this. So Hazardor is saying, Parris, the problem on Twitter is you only grow if you say things people want to hear. If you criticize, you'll be attacked. So how to balance that and grow on social media who just post about games? Here's my advice, because I'm sure, as you know, people come at me every freaking day. There's obviously drama going on with me on social media right now. I ignore it. I really could give a shit. If people criticize, like, obviously, critical feedback that I should listen to, I pay attention to. But people that just come at you for nonsense, ignore it. Don't engage with that stuff. Talk about the things that you want to talk about and leave it at that. Have your opinion on stuff. Don't go by what I've found is with me, and I have a large following and all that. People get upset with me if I'm not saying what they want me to say. If my opinion doesn't jive with what they think I should say. That's where a lot of this stuff comes from. Or, the very popular one now, if my opinion changes because new information has been presented. I get that one a lot as well. But, you just got to be yourself, man. I mean, just unapologetically be you. I mean, that's me. Look, I understand that I will always have critics online, but I also understand the vast majority of people, they don't care about that stuff. The vast majority of people that I definitely meet in person or, that I get to engage with, during a review or I'm doing something kind of funny or podcast or whatever. It's like, they want to hear your opinion, even if they don't agree with your opinion. I always feel like I'm just telling you how I feel, right? I'm calling it like I see it. What I might say one day could eventually change if a certain information comes into play and you realize, oh crap, I was wrong about that. Then you adjust your opinion accordingly. And with gaming and obviously with Xbox doing all the stuff that they've done over the past 18 months or so, a lot of feet in mouths, if that makes sense. Because, and I've talked about this before, what I said in January of 2024 is not the reality of Xbox today, because I'm not an insider. I don't know shit. I just see what I see and I kind of project as to where I think they're going. And clearly Xbox has changed their strategy. So, a little egg on my face because of that, but you own it and you just keep pushing forward, man, because, people that respect your opinion will always show up for your opinion, right? The people that want to be detractors of your opinion, they're always going to be detractors. There's literally nothing you can say or do to change their mind. So, I definitely don't go with the flow of what the crowd wants me to say. I go with what I think is right or wrong. And that's all you can do. And you and Ka live stream would be excellent. Stay tuned. That might happen one day. Oh no, that's I'm sorry. I'm just reading the chat here, just trying to catch up here. And I appreciate everybody hanging out in here. Really do. Really, really appreciate that. Yeah. Exactly what you're saying, Dropkick. He was saying Parris has it on lock. Focus on what you could control. And exactly, the things you can't control, you will drive yourself insane trying to control them, if that makes sense, right? Like I said before, you will find people online that it is literally their life's work to condemn you or disagree with you or criticize you or all the nonsense that social media is, right? You can obsess over that stuff. You might address it every now and again. I don't advise it, I am telling on myself. I honestly shouldn't do it even when I do. But the vast majority of the time, say what you say and just keep it moving. Here's my Twitter advice, how I handle Twitter. If I don't follow you, I don't see your replies to me because I set it up in whatever the settings. If I follow you, I obviously want to see your replies to me. I will actively have to go into a thread if I want to see replies. So if I know I say something that's gonna just attract that crowd that just wants to say a bunch of nonsense, I just keep going. I don't go back unless it's someone I know, then I'll see the reply, right? Obviously, even with DMs, I had to turn off DMs some years ago because, people are saying some crazy racist shit to me in DMs. And it's like, I don't need that, but I also understand that, I've gotten to a place in gaming, I guess, where stuff I say is going to go around, right? And not everybody's going to agree with it. Not everybody's going to be happy with it. You just have to accept that. Now, I'll leave it alone. I was going to bring up something, but I'm going to leave it alone. Unless someone asks me, then I will address it. But, there's always going to be people that have a problem with me, and for various reasons. But at the end of the day, I know who I am. You know what I mean? I know what my opinion is. I know what influences my opinion. I know the information that is presented to me, and you own it and you go from there. I am look, as much as I would want to always be right, I'm wrong a lot too. And when I'm wrong and it's presented to me that I'm wrong, I own it. Just again, with all this Xbox stuff that's been happening in the past year and a half, where I thought they were going, it's not where they're going, and you own it. And then you kind of look at the landscape of where the industry is headed and you address it from there. And even in that doesn't make everybody happy because people, and I've said this before, my biggest gripe with Xbox is they made this change in the middle of a generation instead of the start of a generation. So I understand people that in 2020 were sold one thing, and then now here we are 4 years later, 5 years later, they're being told another. That would upset me too. And I think that's rightfully so. And I think Phil Spencer, even when he talked with Xbox Era, said it himself. He sees it. They see it. They know it. But the one thing, and this is not me defending Xbox, but the one thing you have to realize is they're a corporation, $1 billion, whatever. They're trying to make money. They're going to make tough decisions that not everyone's going to be happy with. And my advice to anyone that is not happy with the decisions that they made is you vote with your wallet. If you feel like you can no longer trust Xbox in the direction that they're headed, get a PlayStation, get a PC, get a Switch, start playing the games over there. They've obviously told you at this point, their games are going to be on those platforms anyway. So if you feel that you can't trust the direction that Xbox hardware is going in the next generation, my advice again would be wait to see what it is. And then once you see what it is, you make an informed decision going into the next generation of gaming. This one, we've already bought the hardware. We already have it. I mean, it is what it is. The games obviously are still going to come out on the current Series X and the S. We know games are going to start coming to PlayStation 5 and Switch 2. But when we get to that next generation, PlayStation 6 and whatever this next Xbox is going to be, make an informed decision on what hardware you want to buy. And that's all you can do. Let me see, Xbox. I disagree with a lot of creators, but I don't lash out anymore. Well, maybe one guy who shall not be named. And here's what I'll say, taking myself out of it for a second. You have to understand the vast majority, and I think I got a feeling who you're talking about, but the vast majority of creators, they're trying to entertain you. They're trying to review a game and they're trying to give their opinions on stuff, right? I get that online makes it very easy to say what's on your mind because there isn't necessarily repercussions to what you say, right? But understand that creator is a person too. They have feelings too. Being openly just disrespectful or mean or hateful or whatever to them, the result's going to be they're not going to engage. See, my problem is I like talking to people, right? Even when they disagree with me, I am not afraid to go on any like I was just on a show a couple of weeks ago that is kind of quote unquote right wing or whatever that, it's some of the people that watch that show like simply do not like me. But I still went on because if you're willing to have a reasonable conversation with me, I'll absolutely 100% do it every freaking time. But don't do it in bad faith. And the point I'm bringing all this back around to as a viewer is the people that are every week getting in front of a camera, doing a podcast, giving their opinions. They're not always going to be right. They're not always going to say things that you agree with. There is a way to disagree with people and still be respectful at the same time. That's where I think social media has made it really just this cesspool where people try to purposely say the meanest shit they possibly can to someone that they don't know. And we all know we would never do that in face-to-face conversations. This isn't a threat or anything. This is just human decency. We don't talk to each other like this in person. So why do we talk this way to people online? And that's a question you have to answer for yourself. But that's just my point of view on it. Parris probably knows the lineup to the 20. But let me be clear on something. I know nothing. And I purposely try to not know anything because I don't want to be an insider. I like to just essentially give an educated guess on where I think things are headed, or, you know, when I think a game is going to come out, stuff like that. I mean, obviously, if I'm hosting, you know, a showcase or something like that, of course, then I'm going to have a heads up on stuff. But then I'm not going to be online talking about it either. You know what I mean? Because there's obviously all kind of crazy NDAs and embargoes on that stuff anyways. But the point is, when you see me giving an opinion about something or what I think is going to happen, it's just me essentially giving an educated guess on it. At the end of the day, it is me looking at the industry, looking at the trends, where I think stuff is headed, and I give my opinion. I'll give you a perfect example. When and this goes back to 2019. I was saying this in 2019 that PlayStation would put their games on PC, and people were coming at me, "You're crazy. They're never going to do that, blah, 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 blah." And here we are in 2025. Guess what? They put their games on PC. And I've also said eventually, I'm not saying it's going to happen anytime soon. I'm saying eventually you're going to see them put their games day and date on PC because, again, why not? I am not the first person to say this, and I know some other people have been saying this recently. You have to think of it. I think Colin Moriarty, when he's talking to Shu, was talking about this, as a matter of fact. The people that play on PC, if they wanted a PlayStation, they would have bought one already. So it's two separate markets at that point. So you might as well sell your games to that market when they come out, because you're going to get more people to adopt it and buy it when it's initially coming out instead of, 2 years later, right? So the reason I think, and again, I know nothing, but the reason I think you don't see PlayStation games day and date today is studio resources, because oh my God, I'm blanking on their names now. Right now, the studio they have that does all the ports, like for Insomniac and stuff. Oh my God, I'm blanking. You know who I'm talking about. But anyways, I think until they get internal resources at each studio that can simultaneously do a PlayStation port and a PC port at the same time, you're not going to see them go day and date. You're going to see the gap. You're going to see the 12 months to 18 month gap that we're currently seeing. Now, obviously, live service games are going to be different, like Marathon from Bungie, which again, Bungie has experience, putting games multi-platform. Marathon's going to be on Xbox. It's going to be on PC. We've obviously already seen that with Helldivers 2. We're going to see it with some of their other live service stuff as well. But I do think there will be a day when you're going to see single player PlayStation games day and date on PC and PlayStation. Because at the end of the day, it's about money, man. You're trying to make money. So why not widen your audience by putting those games elsewhere? Now, this is me saying this as my opinion. I'm not, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but this is just where I think things are going to go as far as PlayStation goes and their multi-platform. No, I do not think PlayStation games will be on Xbox. Xbox is being extremely aggressive with this strategy, and who the frick knows if it's going to work, because just like I said to Phil Spencer, if I can buy my games on PlayStation, my Xbox games on PlayStation, why am I getting an Xbox hardware? Period. So that is something they need to prove to us. They need to sell me on, and we'll see what that is in the next few years. And I got a super chat here from Jax82, a $9.99 super chat. Wow, that is more than generous of you. And anyone that sends super chat, totally appreciate it. Completely optional. I'm just here having a conversation with you, but I do appreciate it. And you're saying I think you're saying at the end of the day, Xbox responsible how the message is perceived, positive or negative. The problem is it keeps changing, or we have to adjust what is always changing. And I 100% agree. And this is why I know I put my foot in my mouth with stuff that I've said, because I will take you back to 2020, 2021, when they acquired Bethesda. And I was given the reasons why they acquired Bethesda, because I'm like, you're doing it to boost Game Pass and have more exclusive titles to get you to buy Xbox hardware. And that clearly was true at the time, because even Phil Spencer publicly said that I was right about that at the time. Now, when Activision happens, I remember when Activision first happened, I was like, oh, Call of Duty exclusive. Like, that's what I thought. And then you think about it in hindsight, a few weeks later, I'm like, they're not going to put Call of Duty exclusive. It's too much money. That game, that IP is too big to put it exclusive to one platform. They're not going to do that. And then I was even saying then, we got to stop with all these publishers getting acquired, because it's becoming too much. To me, Activision was the red line as far as that went. I did not, and I still say it, I do not want to see Xbox acquire any more publishers at this point, because we do need diversity in this industry. And obviously we see where the industry is right now. It's not great. So I would hate to see more consolidation. We're going to get more layoffs and less diversity with studios and strategies and the risks that they're going to take, stuff like that. But anyways, the point I'm making is, yes, Xbox has changed their message a lot. So things that people like myself have said over the past few years clearly has changed. And you own it, and then you look at, all right, well, here's what they're probably going to do then. And you talk about it from that viewpoint, because you can't stick your head in the sand and go, la, 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 it's all about exclusive. And I also want to say on the record, because I'm sure the stuff will probably get clipped, when it comes to exclusive, I've never been a fan of exclusives, but I understood the reality of exclusives, because exclusives is how you sell the hardware. That has typically been, excuse me, the prime incentive to get you to buy a certain publisher or brand's hardware is exclusive games that come with it. Xbox is obviously trying something different, and like, do I think it's going to work? I would lean towards no, but let's see how it goes. I think Xbox hardware is going to wind up becoming a boutique item, whereas like a Surface or something like that, sure, you can buy it if you want, but you're not going to need it. And whatever incentive that they're going to get me to buy it, is it an open platform so I can bring in all my other PC digital libraries into it? Is that the thing? I mean, I don't know, but we will see, obviously, here in the next few years on where that goes. But to continue to answer that question, I mean, yes, opinions are going to change. And I get people that want to hold you to an opinion. I get it. And you own it. Yep, I did say that. Looks like I was wrong. All right, now we got to move on from it. But that's just the reality of this quote unquote content creation. You know, I'm not a journalist, but kind of game analyst, you know, thing that we do. Some things you're going to get right. Some things you're going to get wrong. When you get it wrong, own it. Don't do whataboutisms or make excuses for it. Just own it and say that you're wrong, and you move forward. Dayreezy clipped. Yeah, hell, I'm sure it will. Jack, I sent a super chat to the Kind of Funny chat about Avowed. Thought y'all were like, oh yeah. So yeah, with Avowed, when we did that, we had recorded it the day before because Greg went to DICE. I was supposed to go to DICE too, but I was too sick, so I didn't go. So we recorded it the day before we went to DICE, or he went to DICE, and then obviously just presented it at Embargo. Danny Passion Official, I find Avowed too expensive, $70 for what it is. You know, and I've been seeing that more recently, and I kind of get it. I get it. Again, this is where I don't think Obsidian ever promised The Witcher 3 or Skyrim with Avowed. I kind of went in knowing what it was, but to your point about the price point, look, I think $70 is too much for any goddamn game, personally. But yeah, maybe this could have been a $50 or $60 game. And I think some of the critiques of that would have gone away, but it being a full-blown $70 price. And I think what Xbox would argue back is, hey, this is coming from Obsidian. It's not a AA experience. This is a AAA experience. It is. Does it do all the RPG things that we've seen in some of these other games? No, it does not. But it checks enough boxes and is enough of an enjoyable experience that I get it. I get it, but I don't fault anyone for thinking 70 is too much for it at all. And again, they're going to say Game Pass, get on Game Pass and you guys spend $70. So yeah, totally get that critique. And we get Darth Parris? No Darth Parris. At least I try not to be. Definitely try not to be. Let's see. Captain Logan, do you think the EU Commission will start looking at Sony given the increase in class action lawsuits? You know, I've not followed that enough to know the whole, and I'm out of focus again. Gosh darn it. Hold on. Where Khalif at? Help me fix this stupid camera. Why is it not? There we go. All right. Sorry about that. Yeah, I've not followed it enough to 100% know real information about that. So I will have to pass on that if I think it will be, because I need to do more research. And Tim is saying, as a console only gamer that buys all consoles every gen, I see no need to spend on the next Xbox in addition to a PS6 and the Switch 2. And I 100% agree. And that would be my advice to anyone is okay, let's just keep this a buck at this point. If you like PlayStation games, that you want to play some PlayStation games, then I would get a PlayStation 6 and then get the Xbox games on the PlayStation 6, unless you like Game Pass, unless you like the fact that if you buy a digital copy of an Xbox game through the Xbox store, you have the flexibility of being able to play it in not only your Xbox console, but also playing it on PC and potentially streaming it over the cloud and stuff like that. I think their strategy is, we're going to try and give you incentive via services and quality of life convenience versus the traditional exclusives way. I think that's the play. Will it work? I have no idea, but I think that's the play on it. But I totally get it. And people that don't like Game Pass, they're gonna get a PlayStation 6. That's just the reality of it. I don't see someone that doesn't use Game Pass getting Xbox hardware the next gen, unless it's the handheld. I've been on record about this. I will get the handheld if it is truly an Xbox and not just another PC handheld variant that's running some forked version of Windows. And if it is truly an Xbox console, so it does everything that an Xbox console would do that sits under my TV, I'm getting that handheld day one. Abso-freaking-lutely. But again, remains to be seen. Hopefully they will start talking about that here in the next year or two, so we can set expectations on that and see if it is going to be worth my money. And obviously price is going to play a factor into that too. What else do we have here? Danny, try to set up the foreground lighting more than the back. Yeah, and well, I was talking about this before with Cleve. I swore I've done everything. What I truly think the problem is, if you see behind me this glass door and the reflection of the light that's coming off of it. Not to mention, I got that 4090 sitting there, so that's probably catching some of it as well. But I'll get this fixed. Again, I don't stream enough on here that it's been an issue, but obviously I need to get this resolved. And let's see. Dexter's saying, I prefer the Xbox controller and feature. PlayStation has great games, but the box doesn't do the things I enjoy. Quick resume. The dimming, the screensaver features give me the peace of mind for my OLED. And so that's what I'm saying. I think they're gonna, people like yourself, Dexter, they're gonna lean on that. Like here's what I'm saying. I don't take credit for it, because I know Colt's talked a lot about this. There's going to be a dedicated probably 20 million people that are still going to, there's going to be 20 million Xboxes out there regardless, because you're going to have people like yourself that just prefer what Xbox brings as far as hardware goes, and the controller and all the services and features that hardware can do over what PlayStation does. They don't necessarily need to get a PlayStation because the PlayStation games didn't attract them. There's an audience out there that's going to do that. All I'm saying is the majority, and again, Xbox has waved a white flag on that. They know they're not going to, quote unquote, win the console war. They're never going to sell the most hardware. So they've pivoted to this strategy, and obviously acquiring Activision and that price tag that went with that fed into this. But put your games in more places. And, you know, that's something that I've got critiques on social media, because, you know, I just flat out said, at the end of the day, these companies are trying to make money. You put your games in as many places as possible to make the most money. Period, point blank. I mean, that's just the reality of it, whether we like it or not. That is just what a corporation is going to do that has invested millions, if not billions of dollars into their gaming strategy. They want to get that return on investment. So this is what you do. And let's see. Andrew is saying, if the strategy, service, convenience versus content, then content wins 100 times out of 100. Yes, I don't disagree with that. And this is, again, where Xbox, and I think they've started down this path here, it's, since the end of last year and now coming into this year with Avowed, and we'll see what's out the midnight and beyond, of delivering quality games. If you deliver quality games consistently, then I want to invest in your ecosystem. That's the other part of it too. Part of the strategy is they want to get you on their digital stores, not on the PlayStation digital store and all that. They obviously realize not everyone's going to do that, hence the multi-platform strategy. But if you give me enough incentives to buy that a game on the Xbox digital store / Windows digital store versus the PlayStation or Steam digital store, that's how they get more people roped in. But even Phil said with Xbox Era, they understand, hey, we're still going to get 70% whether you get it on PlayStation, Steam, or wherever else, right? So like I said, it's different, man. And I get Xbox is leading this change, and no, Nintendo's not going to do this anytime soon because they have no incentive to do it. PlayStation is kind of sort of doing it, but not really, in that they are putting games on PC and they're doing it a more strategic way. But again, going back to the Colin interview with Shu and China being a big market and the United States being a big market on PC, of course they're going to start taking more advantage of that, because why wouldn't they? It's about money, man. They're trying to make money. And again, I say this as a fan of gaming. I would want as many people as possible to play a game that I enjoy. I'm not a fan of gatekeeping a game. And we obviously know exclusivity has been a part of that. But the point I'm making on it is I have talked to enough game developers over the years that if it were up to them, number one, if it was up to game developers, that'd be one platform and all the games would just be on that one platform that everyone buys. But we know that's not the reality. So since you have multiple platforms that games are on, of course they want their games in as many places as possible so as many people can enjoy the thing that they've worked on for years to create. That's just flat out truth. Many devs have told me that. And you see that, like I said, Craig Duncan, who's a new head of Xbox Game Studios, even just said that when he was on the Xbox podcast with Tina. That's just a reality. Look, Xbox is, and I've already said it, look, their motivations obviously is partially, sure, let's get games everywhere, but it also partly is revenue, it's money, and we know that. So let's see. People seem to not realize that exclusive strategy already failed for Xbox. Why do we act like it's less of a risk to stick to a failing strategy as opposed to changing the strategy? Here's what I'll say to that, Dominic. And I talked about this before. I just don't like that they did it in the middle of a generation. If they did this at the start of a new generation, now you're an informed consumer when you're expected to buy new hardware and you can make that choice. I personally would have liked to have seen them at least try the rest of this generation with Bethesda and Activision games. Let's see if they get on that cadence. Does that build up Game Pass? Does that sell more hardware to where maybe they get to the end of the gen and go, you know what? We're seeing a lot of momentum with this. We'll continue to keep these games exclusives. Or they go, no, let's do what they're currently doing now. That would be my number one critique of this, because you've upset a lot of people. You just simply have. Because that is not what you were saying in 2020, but it's what you're saying in 2025. And I think people have a right to be upset about that, because because the prices sure as hell didn't go down. You potentially have spent $500+ on an Xbox, and when you could have spent that $500 on a PlayStation, because not everybody can own multiple consoles. That's the other thing that we have to address here. So people made a choice in 2020 on which console do I want. I choose Xbox because I like Halo, I like Gears, blah, 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 on down the line, versus God of War and Uncharted on the other side. Now, that doesn't matter anymore. Now, you're going to get all those games on the PlayStation, so maybe someone would have chose the PlayStation. And that's fundamentally what all this is about. I mean, all the bickering online, you can just try and ignore the nonsense and filter through it. But at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. And, Shine Films, they're literally putting more games on PlayStation than Sony is. And here's the thing with that. You got to remember, they canceled, where are we at now? 10, 11, 12 live service games? I forget the exact number. They canceled a lot of games. So these studios now have to reset. They got to start over. And when you start over, you're not going to have games out right away. So there was probably live service games that were slated to come out over the next couple of years that have now been canceled. And those studios are going to have to go back and create a new IP, and, you know, it could be a sequel to something and start all over. So as a result, you're going to have this gap. Xbox obviously had that gap in 2022. And I think we're seeing some of that with PlayStation now. They've obviously supplemented some of that with some of the third-party deals that they've made, and I get it. And we're getting Ghost of Yote this year, which I'll be there day one for. Astrobot obviously came out late last year, which was Game of the Year. So it's not that PlayStation's completely dry on games, but you would think at this point in the generation, we'd start seeing a steady flow of stuff coming from their internal studios. But I do think, you know, the live service strategy kind of delayed that. And I was just talking about this the other day. A lot of the IPs that we're probably expecting to come from PlayStation, they're probably on the PlayStation 6. Sure, they'll be cross-platform. You can play them on PS5. But, I mean, we're in 2025 now. I mean, we're talking, because let's say Wolverine's 2026, right? What's the next Insomniac game beyond that? It's probably a cross-gen game for PlayStation 6 and PS5. You know what I mean? So think about Naughty Dog, Intergalactic. I fully expect that to be a cross-gen game. PS6, PS5. I don't think that's PS5 only. But we'll see. Again, I could be wrong, but we'll see. So I get, you know, it's fun, you know, to say, you know, joking online, like, the Xbox is putting more games on PlayStation than PlayStation is. But that's the reason why, in my opinion. Let's see. I got to use Xbox because it was the first console besides Switch I could get that wasn't gouged. Okay. Dexterous Joe. And people really underappreciated how good the output was when the generation began. Agreed. And look, PlayStation knocked it out of the park at the start of this gen. They had some fantastic games, obviously, like Miles Morales. You know, obviously we got Horizon Forbidden West, Returnal, Ratchet and Clank, you know, then we, you know, got Spider-Man 2, Ragnarok, all that. Great games, all of them. And now we're kind of seeing the slowdown as a result to that shift to live service, and which is clearly not going to work. So we'll see. And finally somebody asked me, Matt, how about that Cena heel turn? Yeah. So I'm gonna shift into wrestling really quick. I hope people don't mind. And actually, how many people are here watching? Oh, it's like 100 people watching. I appreciate that. But yeah, that was great. Now, I'm a huge wrestling fan, if you don't know. I'll be at WrestleMania this year. Can't wait for that. But you knew this whole Rock final boss thing, like, all right, Cody selling his soul. You knew Cody wasn't going to sell his soul because, ironically enough, it was very similar to why Cena never turned heel. You don't have another comparable babyface to replace Cody if he goes bad guy. And that's all the Make-A-Wish stuff, the appearances, all that. You have to be cognizant of that. That's why Cena never turned, because Vince never had anybody to replace him. He wanted it to be Roman and tried to force Roman down our throats, and the fans rejected it. And obviously Roman pivoted and became what he is now. But anyways, to the point, I'm so happy to see Cena, you know, on this final run, give us something that we've literally waited like 15 years for to see. I want to see a heel Cena. Look, bring back Thugonomics, all that. I want to see him be a bad guy. So this main event with Cody is going to be fantastic. And if anything, Cena needs to win the belt. I know Cena, I think, committed to 30 plus appearances the rest of the year. So they can do it in a way where you give Cena a run through the summer with the belt, you know, Money in the Bank, all that. And then you get the rematch with Cody at SummerSlam, and Cody gets the belt back at SummerSlam. But I want to see it, man. And then, you know, Cena can flip back and be a face the last couple months and, you know, ride into the sunset. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I think there could definitely be some great storylines with a bad guy scene. Obviously, CM Punk, like he called that, you know, last night on Raw. You can get him. There's the match combinations that you can get with a bad guy scene are going to be great. So we'll see. And all I have to say is finally, people forget Cena beginning runs when he was somewhat a heel. Yeah. And that was over. Was that 25 years ago almost? I think it was like 02 or whatever when he first came out of Ohio Valley Wrestling. I mean, he was somewhat of a bad guy, right? But that's what I was saying. Bring back Thugonomics and just let him go full on heel, and let's just see where it takes. Now, this doesn't have the impact that Hogan did in 96 at Bash on the Beach, because Hogan obviously then had an extended run with NWO where we'd never seen that, whereas Cena's going to have a limited run at the very end. So I still think Wait, what's that? Oh, something for GDC just popped up. But I still think giving him a summer run with the belt as a heel is going to be fantastic. I can't wait to see it. But Hogan turning heel is still probably the biggest thing I've ever seen in wrestling. That's still number one. But I would put Cena probably at the end of the top 5 up in there somewhere, just because the run's going to be limited. But obviously, let's see where he goes with it. Parris, when are they going to remaster WCW versus NWO? Man, remaster No Mercy, which is the greatest wrestling game of all time, by the way. But my God, I would so love to see that. Look, y'all want to do those remasters? I would love to see it. Biggest heel turn, Trump or Cena. I'll leave that alone. I'll let you decide. Dominic, impact wise, it could have staying power, just depends on the story they tell. No, agreed. And that's what I mean. We obviously have to see it in play and see how they do it. My thing is, Cena has let us know that December he's done. And then he's never put in the trunk. He's not going to make some comeback. He's going to be done and just be an ambassador for WWE at that point. So we'll never see him essentially do what The Rock is doing right now, where even if The Rock doesn't wrestle, he can do this final boss character and still be this heel, manipulating things and not eventually get in the ring. Which, by the way, let me give you this conspiracy theory. I was just telling someone where I think, because I don't think Rock's done wrestling. So, like I said, Cena wins the belt, has the run during the summer up to SummerSlam, rematch with Cody. Maybe Cody even wins Money in the Bank or something, right? But anyway, you get the rematch at SummerSlam. Cody goes over due to interference from Roman, because Roman's not happy with Rock. You betrayed the family, blah, blah, blah. Boom. You set up Rock and Roman for 42 for the Ula Fala or whatever the hell, right? So I still think Rock Roman could be on the table next WrestleMania 42. So we'll see. I hope so, because they got to pay that off. And the fact that Rock even brought up the fact that he wanted to wrestle Roman in his promo with Cody last week says, I think it's still on the table. So we'll see. Let's see. What is King Henry saying? Wait, hold on. I'll come back to you, King Henry. Danny Pash is saying, Parris, what's your hype level for Doom: The Dark Ages? Okay, interesting. Fun fact with me and Doom. Not the biggest fan. I've played it a little, the last one that came out. I'm okay with it. It's not necessarily my thing. I will play it. I'm pretty sure I'll review it and the whole thing. But I'd probably put my hype level around a 7 or 8 on it, just because it's never really been my thing. But I do know people that it's an 11 out of 10 hype for it, because they're huge Doom fans. And I do think it is going to knock it out of the park with it. So we'll see. And it felt like Taker's streak ending. Let me come back to what I was saying before with King Henry. Do people realize if you buy 3 full price Xbox games on PlayStation, you have essentially bought a Series S? Which is true. But this is what I'm saying again. Not everyone wants to either get Game Pass, because that's usually the argument with that, or they want multiple. If they could just have one console that plays all the games, they're good. They don't want multiple consoles. So, I get it. Look, I get the argument, because obviously I'm the guy that says Xbox Game Pass is the best value in gaming, because I think it is. But I understand people that aren't a fan of it and don't necessarily play it. Like the example I bring up all the time is my neighbor. My neighbor plays Madden, NBA, and Call of Duty. That's it. He buys those 3 games. He's good. So he's not a candidate for Game Pass. He's not playing indie games or the Avowed or any of that stuff. He's playing those 3 games every year, and he's good. And Dexter, I'm more excited about Claire. It will be my first turn-based. Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, obviously all the previews look fantastic on it. Everyone that has played that full preview loved it. I barely played it, only a little bit. That's why I didn't comment on it yesterday, because I just simply didn't put enough time into it. And I'll say this. What time is it now? God, how long have I been on? Oh, wow. I'm coming up on an hour. So I'll say this. Tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific, something that I thought would never happen is going to happen. And through fan what's the word I'm looking for here? Through just fan petitions and just everything that's gone on the past few years. The fact that we're getting Daredevil Born Again, and we're getting essentially season 4 of the Netflix Daredevil back. We're getting Matt Murdock. We're getting Wilson Fisk. We're getting Bullseye. We're getting Foggy. We're getting the whole band back together. I'm so excited. I am easily one of the biggest fans of that series. It grabbed me from episode 1 of season 1 all the way to the end of season 3. I've just been a huge fan of it, and to get that back tonight has me so freaking excited. You have no idea. You have no idea. It is my goal that when season 2 comes out, I get to interview the cast. I so badly want to do that. I'm putting in the hustle work now to make that a reality in 2026, that I'll get to sit down with the entire Daredevil cast and just be able to, Charlie Cox, obviously Vincent D'Onofrio, just everybody, and just talk about this series and what it is and what it means to people like myself and so many others, because I just think it's some of the best stuff that Marvel's ever done. I really do. And thank God, during the writer's strike, they looked at what they were doing, realized this is not going to work, scrapped it, and essentially pivoted into season 4 of the Netflix show and brought everybody back, because oh, my dog's barking. Wow. Hold on 1 second. Who's at my door? It's UPS. The fact that they recasted Vanessa, Foggy and Karen were not even going to be in it. Bullseye was not going to be in it. Like, they were making it more of it was going to be freaking Ally McBeal. Matt wasn't even putting on the Daredevil suit, they said, until like episode 4 or something crazy like that. So thank God they went back and saw that this wasn't going to work, and they pivoted. So I'm super excited for it. Oh, Dexter is saying, confession, I've never watched any Daredevil on Netflix. Do I need to catch up first? I'm going to personally say yes, because I think Born Again will have a much more of an impact if you understand what's been going on in the first 3 seasons, and even the Defenders to a smaller degree, but you don't have to watch the Defenders. But definitely you want to watch Daredevil season 1, 2, and 3. And that way you slide right into Born Again and understand the motivations of all these characters and all the Easter eggs and the tiny things that would make sense to it. But I get, at this point, if you just jump into Born Again and retro go back, just do that too. Whatever you have time for. Day Reezy, yes, there is going to be a Green Lantern show, because I saw they just, I think James Gunn had just posted a picture of the 2 leads for it. So you are getting Hal Jordan, and you're getting, why is my memory so bad? Why am I forgetting the name of, you know who I'm talking about, the other Green Lantern, the Black Green Lantern. Why am I forgetting his name? You know exactly what I'm talking about. Wow, why is this? John Stewart, thank you. My God, why could I not? I kept wanting to say Jim. Sorry. And yes, I will fix this camera stuff so this stops doing this. You just fucking put that down. And what else do we have here? I think that's it. Yeah, my brain is definitely getting out of focus. I'm telling you, man, I have been sick since I went up to Kind of Funny in January. I've been sick ever since, and I would get better, then I would get worse again, then I would get better again, then I would get worse, and it's like I'm feeling better now, so hopefully it's finally over. But yeah, it has freaking sucked for the past couple months. And Captain Logan is saying, any titles you want updates on for the Xbox showcase? I kind of do blame Greg, just so you know. Okay, I would love to see more of Clockwork Revolution. I can kind of go down this list. Clockwork Revolution, Perfect Dark. I want to see Everwild. It's time. My God, they better show Everwild. It's been way beyond time that we need to actually know what the hell Everwild is. I would assume State of Decay 3 as well. I know they delayed Fable, so they might not show Fable at the showcase, because you can do a developer direct or something early in 2026 for Fable. Um, Maybe Gears E Day, maybe not, because here, okay, let me pause on that. I have a theory on Gears E Day, because I see a lot of people talking about 2025 for Gears E Day. I don't think so. I really don't. I think Gears E Day makes more sense for November of 2026, because that is the 20-year anniversary of Gears of War. If we get anything Gears of War this year, I would think it's this mythical Gears of War collection, if that really is a thing. Drop that this year. It'll be on everything, you know, Xbox, PlayStation, PC, maybe even Switch. And that way, because you know E-Day is going to be on everything when that comes out, that way the people that have never played Gears get a chance to go back and play the older Gears games now, get excited about Gears, and then you drop them with E-Day, the new stuff, for the 20-year anniversary in 2026. So E-Day is a maybe, maybe not, because again, I think you could hold that as the Dev Direct after the 2026 showcase. That would make a lot of sense, I guess. I'm sure we'll see Outer Worlds 2 and get a date on that at this showcase. Again, if this Oblivion remake is a real thing, we're probably going to see that there. I want to see something Fallout related. Like, look, I know they're continuing to update Fallout 76. That's just rolling on. But I want to hear something new about Fallout. A new standalone Fallout game, as well as I would love to see something for Elder Scrolls 6. But I think now we're kind of getting there. That's a lot of stuff. It's probably too much for the showcase. They'll space it out. And then I'll be interested to see whatever this next Call of Duty is going to be. And I'm extremely curious what is going to be the Dev Direct for the showcase, which again might be the Gears collection. It could be. I don't know. I mean, we'll see, but be interesting to see. And what else do we have here? You know what? I know exactly why it does not have cross progression, because when I went to London last year for Fallout 76 for an update, and I got to talk to Jonathan, who is creative director for Fallout 76, and we directly asked him that question. And I mean, it really comes down to technical issues. It comes down to it would take, because again, we got to remember the game was created in a world where crossplay wasn't necessarily a thing. So you basically have your PlayStation population, your Xbox population, and your PC population. It would take a lot of technical work on the back end, a lot of infrastructure work to get all of those three platforms to talk to each other and allow cross progression. So his argument on it was, would you rather us spend 9 months to a year working on that, or would you rather spend 9 months to a year working on new content for Fallout 76? I mean, I think most people would want new content at this point versus cross progression. So, but I get the argument that, hey, yeah, I want cross progression because I want to play with more of my friends. So I get it both ways, but that was the explanation on that one. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to season 2 of Fallout. Again, I was lucky enough last year to go to red carpet premiere for it. Got to meet the cast and everything. I mean, great bunch. Like I'll never forget. Like I went and I got to see the first 2 episodes early before the red carpet. We went to like this private event, like, I don't know, probably a month before then. And even then, 2 of the leads were at that private event with Amazon. And I was thinking, this will be like Halo or something. I was just like, wow, this is really, really good. And I mean, it kind of set the bar. This and The Last of Us sets the bar on what these video game adaptations can be for a TV series. It really does. It's that good. So yeah, I can't wait for season 2. Again, I don't want to get into spoilers, but the way season 1 ended, yeah, really looking forward to that. And what else do we have here? Looking at time. Yeah, actually, I'm over an hour, so I do think I'm going to wrap this up now, but I appreciate everyone hanging out here. Like I said, I just want to do a random live stream, let people come in and just have a conversation back and forth on that. I definitely want to do more of these between work and, like I said, being sick and all that. It's just been delayed on it. But yeah, as I get time, I definitely want to do more of these. So I appreciate all you hanging out. And Dropkick, thanks for being the video game voice of reason. I wish I was. Sometimes I question myself. But yeah. Thank you all for hanging out here. This is always fun to do. Hope you have a good rest of the day, evening, wherever you are in the world. And we will talk again real soon.